taking a sweet ass time, ain't he?
What's going on, guys? I am back again. So today's going to be interesting. I've got my boy War Muffin with me. We're going to try and do a final push for at least Ultra 1 for him and hopefully Masters for both of us all together. So that's kind of the plan for today. Obviously, we're going to be playing Pokemon Unite. On top of that, though, I've got a panel of my homies here with me. We're going to be discussing kind of Pokemon, the state of Pokemon, and Pokemon just in general. That being said, let's go ahead and hop right into it. Let's go around the room here. Give me your name and favorite Pokemon. Start with, let's say, Bunzo.
Yo, what up? Benzo, Bunzo, what have you. Favorite Pokemon? Gotta be Venusaur Sun.
Oh, that's a good.
That is a good one. That's a classic Gen 1. I like it. Fantastic. What about you, buddy?
Fantastic Bros. Venusaur is a close second, but my favorite is Ampharos.
Ooh, very classic one. That's a very, very top tier fave, I think. And rounding it off, we got OG Muffin, aka War Muffin. What about you?
Hey, big
War
dog.
Muffin over here, but as much as I love the other two choices, they're both up in the top fives. My favorite is Scizor.
Scizor?
That's a unique one.
That is a unique one because not a lot of bug types get love. All around good choices. For me, oh man, it's super tough. I think overall, I would have to go back on probably my original favorite, which is probably Rapidash. Going all the way back to Gen 1.
Again.
Hey, it is Gen 1, but I mean, like, over the years, I've definitely, like, evolved past Rapidash being one of my favorites. But yeah, I would say Rapidash is probably, like, all around top tier favorite. Can't really beat it.
I can tell we're all old.
We are all old.
I'm probably going with the Gen 1 Rapidash and not the Galarian version.
Fuck Galarian Rapidash.
Yo.
That's what I like to hear. Fuck them alter egos.
I'm very
goddamn upside down world variants. Fuck that shit.
Yeah, I didn't care for. I don't know, some of the new typings are cool and how they do the variant evolutions and stuff, but I don't know, man. Like, it just a lot of it just didn't resonate for me, and it felt more like they were catering to Gen 1ers.
Run out of ideas.
I wouldn't say running out of ideas. It just felt like they were they felt like more like a cash grab, in my opinion.
Well, it's like
I mean, we were the ones with the money.
Yeah, we're adults now.
That's fair. That's fair.
Like,
go ahead.
no, it's like, do I make 200 new Pokemon or do I make 50 new Pokemon and then 50 regional variants?
I mean, all good options, but I feel like if you put in the work for 200, I feel like that's going to be better received.
Yeah, it just depends. Some of the regional variants I like, but some I'm just like, oh damn, this was lazy.
Agreed. That's what I think. I think a lot of it's kind of lazy. But I don't know, man. That's kind of the state of Pokemon in general, I think. I mean, it is a lot to come up with an extra 200 when you already we are over 1,000 Pokemon right now as of, Generation 9, so.
But I mean, that's another thing to think about. Is like we got 9 gens of Pokemon, just like with Marvel movies and shit. Like, stop. Like, you don't have to make new shit all the time. Like, make some shit with the shit you already got.
I would agree to that.
You were spitting so hard that, like, I'm a huge Marvel fan, but the MCU I've just like forsaken. I was like, I'm done. They've reached the point where they're like, we'll sell you anything and you're gonna buy it, so we're just gonna stop making quality shit because we know we got you in the palm of our hands. And granted, Pokemon's like that, but at least I can enjoy Pokemon longer and I can enjoy.
And that's the thing is like, what, not to go off on a side tangent. I know me, Muffin, and Fire talked about this extensively. So like, it goes with a lot of games coming out nowadays from a studio as big as, or from a company as big as Nintendo that only allows Pokemon coming out from their studio. Essentially, like why are the games released in bad states, or lesser than what other companies with much smaller budgets are releasing? So it's not even that you can completely enjoy the new Pokemon that come out in the first place.
That's a fair assumption too. Like, if you're going to release something, at least release, quality stuff and not come out with new stuff that's garbage.
Yeah, so it's like death by 1,000 bludgeonings.
Yeah. Also, a lot of what they're putting out now isn't like, it's either power crept to all wazoo or it's just completely underwhelming. Like, hey, the ice type is broken, it needs to be fixed. But so if you put out a brand new ice type Pokemon, it doesn't matter how cool he is. Like, aside from the new legendary Chin Pao, like that's it. He's like the only viable ice type, period.
Yeah.
And that was mainly because of the special ability.
Yeah, ice types are relatively broken, but we're getting into the weeds of like competitive and things like that. Like that's like next tier Pokemon, and we're not here for all of that. Before I get going though, my boy Justin, let me run this by you guys. It's a book about alcohol, literally. It's called Bottoms Up, written by yours truly. Justin, you want to give a plug for that and give it a synopsis? I definitely recommend checking it out. But he's got all the info for you.
Yeah, Justin Brothers, fantastic bros. I wrote a book called Bottoms Up, the last 5 years. I was speaking earlier with Muffin just about being in the military. I think there's just a culture of drinking. Yes. And so half of it's insightful, another half is just interesting drunk stories about how alcohol kind of is in our lives and in every aspect of our lives. Life, death, you're really happy, you're really sad, alcohol is always there. So it's just something I wrote, a little labor of love.
Fair enough. All right. So yeah, definitely check it out. I'll put the link in chat later for you guys, and I'll also do a plug at the end of the stream for you. But what's it called? Bottoms Up, Justin Brothers, a book about alcohol.
Oh, thank you so much.
Good read. So before we get going again, what is the state of Pokemon in your current life as it is today? Like for me, I've been with Pokemon basically since Jump Street. All the way back Gen 1, 1999, or whenever it fucking released. And I've been with it ever since. I've played the side games. I've played every generation of the main series games. It's a big, big factor in like shaping who kind of I am today for, I don't know, some weird reason. I don't know why I didn't grow out of it like a lot of people did. But for me, like I said, we're playing Pokemon tonight. Like, I'm still well in the fandom. I try to play competitively. I build competitive teams. So for me, I just super, super enjoy it, just like on a deeper level. But what about you guys? Where does Pokemon stand kind of in your world today? Let's start off with Justin.
Man, like you, I got into it Gen 1 just from the anime. Hey, there's something to watch on TV. And then, of course, they did the smart thing. Hey, this TV show is selling these toys, and this toy has a gotta catch them all. And you're just like, damn. And I'm really big into world building.
Yeah.
So it's always cool to see the anime, but how I like Hunter x Hunter. Like, the world building's so expansive. I remember we were talking about regional variants, but that episode, I think, in the Johto season where they were in some tropical aspect and all the Pokemon were like slightly off-colored.
Yeah, I think that was like around the time with like the Pudgy Pidgeys and shit like that, and
yeah, and you're just like, oh man, this world is so cool. And then of course, after we watched Mewtwo Strikes Back and saw Donphan and the egg with Togepi and Meryl or Azumarill, you're just like, oh shit, there's more Pokemon.
Yeah. That's
And
cool.
it's it's a tired formula, but it works every time. I'm like, oh damn, I love the lore, I love the stories, and I'm not into the competitive scene, but every time a Pokemon game drops, I'll play it.
Fair enough. Good shit. All right, Q. What about you?
Well, kind of the same as everybody else. Like Gen 1 right here, I had both red and blue. Like
Wait, you're one of those.
I had the book covers for my books for school. Like I was in there. I was in there for when everybody didn't know who Meryl was, and effectively they were just like, "Oh man, that's Pika Blue. I remember them days."
Yeah, everyone thought it was like a leak and shit.
Yeah, and it ended up being a Pikachu clone, a long line.
Uh-huh.
But at the end of the day, started getting older and more people started falling off. So I play most of the games I play with the homies. So if the homies ain't playing, I guess I'll generally take it on somewhere else. So I fell off for like what is it, after generation 4 or 5?
Mm-hmm.
And then I got back in. I had like Black 2 and White 2, and then after that it was just like yeah, just kind of got back in really with Sword and Shield when I was out of the Navy and talking to you guys. So ever since we've kind of been back in and really started looking at it in more competitive light, because I really love theory crafting and all that other stuff.
Yes.
So just kind of hit a few different itches,
Cool.
but most part it's just kind of a chill thing, fun to do with the homies. I kind of gave stopped watching anime a long time ago. Yeah. A little bit after Orange Isles, I was like, I ain't really about this no more.
Yeah. What about you, Bunzo?
I mean, kind of the it's going to be echoes of the past 3 minutes or so. I don't remember what I got into first, whether I guess it had to have been the anime, hopping up before school, before I knew the difference between cartoons and anime. Got the games. First time beating it was all.
What was it? You cut out a little bit there, Ben.
Yeah, sorry, someone tried calling. First time playing through, it was all on a borrowed copy from a buddy. Then
They really hit him hard with them phone calls.
He's a busy man. Yeah, he backed out. That being said, it's all good. Like you said, we all kind of started roughly about the same time, but we all kind of dropped out at like different points in time throughout the past 25 years. Damn, Pokemon's been out for a fucking minute. But that's awesome though, because like that's something that like it kind of in a weird way ties us all together. Because like Justin said, his favorite is Ampharos, yours is Scizor. Like, even if you aren't a huge fan of it or you fell off at some point, you can still kind of nitpick and pull your favorites out of the generations throughout the years. Because even if you hate all the new ones, which I highly doubt, you could hate majority of them, but there's still probably going to be one or two that you tend to enjoy. And I think that's
my boy.
Yeah, like I think that's the interesting thing about Pokemon is that, like Justin said, it's world building. There's so many different types of Pokemon that every Pokemon is somebody's favorites, even the ones that are like super down at the bottom that no one really likes. There's somebody out there that likes one, and I think that's interesting and really awesome about Pokemon. So I guess my next point would be, as far as the generations of games have gone, Quentin, how would you say Pokemon Unite, the game that we're going to be playing tonight, how does that stack up against, say, like Pokemon Sword and Shield? Like, where does it fall in your ranking of like good game, bad game, etc.?
It doesn't fall. Like, I'm just gonna be honest, I don't even think of it as a Pokemon game, to be real with you. It's
Okay.
more so just a battle arena, so just a MOBA like every other. It just happens to have Pokemon skins on it. Because as far as like an actual Pokemon game, like nah, that's like Sword and Shield. It had its flaws and everything, but overall, it was closer to what we've been asking for the longest. Like, I think that most Pokemon fans, like, if you mix like Sword and Shield with like what Coliseum or DX, then that's like the game that most Pokemon fans were like, this is what we needed in our lives.
Facts. I wouldn't say it's not a Pokemon game. Like it's kind of hard to have a MOBA of this magnitude and then like you said, have like quote unquote Pokemon skins and they not be like, I don't know, if it was any other like MOBA and it was just random like, I don't know, monsters, I'd be like, this is a Pokemon ripoff. You know what I mean? Like, that's kind of how I would feel. So like, I still think like, even though it's not traditionally Pokemon, it's hard to separate, I don't know, Pokemon from any other brand, I guess. Because everything is going to become a Pokemon ripoff if it's a monster-based game, I guess you could say. Justin, have you ever played Pokemon Unite, or have you seen gameplay of it?
Seen gameplay, I never played it. You know, I like the fighting game, so I was definitely messing with Pokken, but
Okay.
MOBAs kind of intimidate me. I'm not gonna lie.
What's the reason for the intimidation?
I don't know. I got a friend. Is League's a MOBA, right?
Yes.
Okay, I got a friend who's really into League, and he was trying to explain it to me one time, and I don't really fancy myself a dumb person. So he was explaining it, and I was just like, hey, it's like I kind of already knew. I was like, oh, this might not be for me, dog.
So
okay.
Yeah, the interesting thing about Pokemon Unite is that though it's a MOBA, it's a very simplified version of it. Yeah, that's a good way to put it. You'll see later when we play, it's basically just score more than the opposing team and don't die because that makes them stronger. At its core, I would say that's the foundation of it. Q, what would you add to that?
Well, to be honest, I would say that that's more so the foundation of most MOBAs. The big thing about Pokemon Unite, comparatively to a lot of those, is the simplicity of all the extra systems. So generally, because I used to play League, Heroes of New Earth, and all of those, like I was big into MOBAs for a while. The thing is, a lot of those have a lot of nuance based on character builds, what items you want to run based on who you're like. They took a lot of that decision making and a lot of that micro decision making out.
Yeah.
So really, you have like, you get 2 sets of moves. Like normally in MOBA, you have 4 skills. Like, nah, here you choose between 2 of those 4, and then you have an ultimate that doesn't change. And then you can pick 3 held items that your Pokemon can use effectively, which would be your build in most other games. Here, you're not trying to, I got to get gold so I can run through and I can buy this item and this. You ain't got to do none of that.
Yeah.
Like, your items are already set. You just go in. Your whole point is to essentially score. The most you have to worry about is if one of your items gives you more stats based on more scores.
Yeah.
That's about it. Other than that, everything is just the baseline macro decisions of how do you play a MOBA. And to be honest, if you were going to get into one, I would actually recommend this one as a very beginner-friendly first.
That's what I was going to say.
MOBA.
And the other thing about this is that though I really hate this aspect of the game, it's actually better for beginners because this game doesn't really have voice chat or an option to like type or anything like that. So you negate a lot of the toxicity in the game that you would get from like League or something like that. So yeah, if you ever want to get into one, I think Pokemon Unite, as Muffin said, is a very good beginner-friendly MOBA to do. Not only that, it looks really pretty.
Yeah,
Also, a Pokemon game. Is it like a $30 game? Or is it still like 50, 60?
It's free charge, bro.
Oh,
Doesn't cost you nothing.
Oh, not a free to play.
It is a free to play. And it's on phone. It's mobile also. So that's also a benefit because it's cross-platform that way.
Okay, does it have a co-op? Like, is something me and my kid could play, or is it just not like that?
Yeah. No, all you got to do is add your friend and then add him to your little party or whatever, and then it's co-op all the way.
Okay, man, that's something I missed, and I don't know, like, co-op games that aren't online, like couch co-op.
That I don't know actually. I know you can do co-op, or I know you can do offline. That was something they added later on in the game. But it'll, like I said, it's obviously offline, so you'll be doing strictly against computers and stuff like that. But I don't know if you can do that with a co-op partner or not.
Got you.
I do know you can do like a team of 5 against a team of 5 computers. That's in there. That I know you can do that, but I don't know about offline like couch co-op sort of thing.
Got you, but if you said it's on the phone, like I can get on the Switch, the homie can get on the phone, and we could still.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's still good.
Yeah. Ben, just to catch you up, we were kind of discussing what Unite was like in kind of the realm of things.
Sorry about that.
No, you're good.
Sorry,
You're good.
I had someone call, so
It's all good. You as a long-time League of Legends player, you probably have the most hours out of all 3 of us combined in MOBAs. You've played a little bit of Unite. Do you remember your first impression of the game?
Yeah, it felt not unlike when I played League of Legends for the first time, as opposed to Heroes of Newerth or Dota.
Okay.
It also then reminisced of playing Heroes of the Storm for the first time, as opposed to League, and that is to say, it takes the most essential core gameplay, team v team, mirrored map, jungle objectives, and like minions. And then I guess like a nexus or a base to destroy. It takes that barest piece and tries to put as few building blocks on top of it before you get a different game.
Right.
League of Legends is drastically different and is much easier than Dota 2 or Heroes of Newerth. Heroes of the Storm is much easier than League. They do have their own nuances and different ways that you have to play the game, which can make them more appealing or not to other games.
Mm-hmm.
But it felt like a solid MOBA. However, more accessible does not always mean it will be more popular. There is a diminishing return.
Right.
And I feel like that's why League has such a strong stranglehold where it's at with MOBAs in general, because it has enough of the skill cap level while still having an easier game, easier barrier of entry for new players.
Right.
And obviously having more players helps for more innovation in the game with how people play. So that can also be a difficulty. I remember the first few hours that I put into Unite, it had just, it doesn't have a long-standing MMR, so you kind of expect it, but I mean, just the roller coaster ups and downs of how your teams are built. You got one person that is licking a wall, and then you have one person who on the enemy team that's just getting all of the points everywhere and destroying you, and it's like, how did this matchup occur? This person is on McDonald's Wi-Fi at best, and that's assuming they even have a working joystick. The enemy team is like, he's cyborged in. You can tell that the circuitry is going straight to his cyborg brain, and he's just dominating your team solo. And it's like, why is this?
Yeah. So Fantastic Bros was saying that League of Legends is or MOBAs in general are intimidating to him because he's got a buddy that was trying to explain to him League of Legends, and I mean, from somebody who's played it, I can understand, but that's why I was saying that, like, you know, Pokemon Unite is a very, very beginner-friendly MOBA because, one, it takes away all of that that toxicity that comes with, like, voice chat and, like, a high skill ceiling and things like that. But at the same part of that is that this game can be very easy to master, and because it's so beginner-friendly, it's very easy to get outside of your rank and get like a bigger head and be like, oh yeah, I'm ultra fucking 3, but you're really not because you've probably been carried because the game is significantly easier.
Yep.
I run into, or me and Q both run into that a lot, where some games it's like fantastically matched, and then other times it's like we either roll over them or we get rolled so hard, and it's because it's like people aren't doing the basic things in the game. So, yes, very beginner friendly. Definitely worth checking out, in my opinion. I don't know if you guys would suggest that. That's up to you. I don't know. I personally enjoyed the game, but
Let me ask, how long are the matches? Like,
that was the other thing. So
Hard capped at 10 minutes.
they're hard capped at 10 minutes. And Ben, what's the time for League of Legends matches?
I mean, that
on average.
Could be 5 minutes to an hour and a half.
Okay, so that is a wild scale. Usually, what was the first number that you dropped, Q?
I said it could be 5 minutes to an hour and a half.
Correct. Now I will say they've done better. So now I think the longest match I've seen has been about 45 to 47 minutes. But that is still, even a hard cap at 20 minutes is, it's long enough to be an investment, but short enough to not be an inconvenience. And so, yeah, having a hard cap at 10 minutes feels like it is also directed towards that normie, casual audience, so that you're not losing the attention span, which helps with not having sweat lords as bad.
And also, you're not getting held hostage.
Yes, absolutely.
Because when you get held hostage for an hour in the game that you figured out 3 minutes in you were going to lose, like, it's rough.
So yeah, there's your answer. Pokemon Unite is hard capped at 10 minutes. It will not go past that. It can be significantly less, unfortunately, because they have a surrender button, and if majority of your team decides to surrender, your matches can be significantly shortened. That being said, the surrender button is not active until the 5-minute mark, so take of that of what you will.
Mhm.
God damn, can we get a fucking match going? So just for you guys, me and Q are now running ranked Pokemon Unite. We are striving to get to Masters. This will probably be my 5th time being the Masters. I think this will be Q's 2nd. Yeah. But the season ends in like a week, so we're like scrambling to.
Oh, it does? Oh, God.
Yeah, I think
so
it
you
ends in
got
like
what,
7 days.
12 people to pick from?
No.
No.
Oh,
like,
shit.
they're over 30.
Yeah. So when the game first released, there was probably like 15. And this is one thing that I really like about this game is that their release schedule is pretty much one Pokemon every, I'd say probably 6 weeks. So they're constantly pumping out new Pokemon. Actually, in about 2 days or so, we're getting the 5th evolution, I believe. So in compared to other MOBAs like League, I don't know what their character release schedule is. Manny could probably better speak to that than me. But I think Pokemon Unite has a really good release schedule because it's constantly changing the meta. It's constantly giving you new content in a way. Because with MOBAs, the characters are the content, basically. But, yeah.
Whew. This is...
Ben,
gotta mentally prep for the start.
as we're playing, Ben, see if you can point out any like noticeable, I guess, any noticeable differences in this versus say like League. And the reason I say League is because that's obviously like the #1 MOBA on the planet that I can think of. And if you have any questions, feel free to ask. I can definitely, for the most part, play and answer questions. Sometimes it gets a little squirrely, you know, in these team fights.
Okay. I do want to revisit one of the things that was said earlier, and in that I think that Unite is a fairly wonderful entry point for MOBAs. It is easy enough to pick up, and again, like I was saying, it shaves down almost every unnecessary addition that other MOBAs add, so that, because as Justin was explaining, or as someone was explaining about Justin's experience, it can be intimidating, and when you have someone who knows a lot about a game, or at least a lot more than you do, there can be a tendency to want to overshare. And it's better sometimes to have people find the question themselves and then you can answer it, versus you just giving a short novel of exposition about how to play the game. So Pokemon Unite gives you a lot of fundamentals from all these other MMOs that you can take in there. It's just learning, okay, well, what do the chess pieces look like in this game? How do they interact in this game versus the ones that I've learned from Unite? Because you can reverse engineer that from, as a League of Legends, Heroes of the Storm. Like, I've done that with all of the MOBAs that I've played. You find the common characteristics and you're able to piece them together. It's just a matter of, Unite does a good job of, you come into the game and all the other games you just add a little something here or there.
That makes sense.
Okay, I would imagine, and correct me if I'm wrong, so all these Pokemon have different classes, I'd imagine, like a long range, a melee, a support,
right,
tank, blah, blah, blah.
So yeah, there's...
Just like with all the other...
Yeah, basically that's standard across, all MOBAs for the most part. There's going to be a range. There's going to be a tank of some sort. There's going to be characters that are specific to healing, or better, I guess, characteristic would be a support, because not all characters heal. Shoot. But
language.
So Ray, what's your Goodra out here doing? What are the strengths of your Goodra and Muffin's Scizor?
So Muffin's Scizor is basically burst damage, jump in, jump out, and kind of track down. I think Scizor in this game is all arounder, so he's like the Mario of the game. But Goodra, on the other hand, is a defender, basically a tank. And my particular, I guess, strong point is that I'm very, very hard to kill in the late game. I have a lot of sustain, a lot of self-healing, and a lot of abilities to increase my defense and special defense.
I'm a brawler.
Yeah, he gets in and...
Scizor is a brawler type. My bullet punch heals, as well as does decent damage and has a short cooldown. Double hit I can use for mobility reasons and allows me to actually jump in and stay on the fight. It also resets cooldowns if I get a kill with it. Now,
the other thing is that not every Pokemon levels at the same rate. Some Pokemon heal, or some Pokemon level up at level 4, some level up at like level 5, and then some Pokemon, obviously like Snorlax, don't evolve at all. So it's just a matter of when you get your skills. And obviously the more Pokemon you knock out, you level up faster. This game does have a catch-up mechanic that I kind of agree with and kind of don't. And I don't know if League or anything has something similar. Ooh, took out 2 of them. Let's go. 3 of them.
Yeah, they got overconfident in the bottom lane, and that allowed you guys to do whatever it is you wanted to do up top. And now they're trying to stop you up top, but I've become Scizor, and I do what they do. Oh no, they're jumping me. They're jumping me.
Let me go. Oh.
I'm coming. Trustle, help. Okay, never mind. They're gone. They're gone. We made it.
So Justin, for if you're misunderstanding what's happening, the first 2 goals in your lane, if you look up at the top left of this corner, you can see the map. There's a top lane, the bottom lane, and then this middle area where I'm currently at. Each lane has 2 goal points. The first one has 80 points to break it, and then the second one has 100. And once you break it, you kind of lose the buff of that lane, which is increased movement speed, basically. They also have basically like fruit to kind of self-heal that respawn. So the more you lose in that lane, the more you lose overall. Goddamn fucking Azumarill.
So you're saying
I'm on my way down.
Sorry, say that again.
so if the other team takes out your lane, you get better?
I wouldn't say you get nerfed. You lose beneficial benefits that can help you. You also don't want to lose your lane because, like, we're about to destroy this. Oh, well, never mind. Fuck it. They surrendered.
They ain't know what to do with me once you guys started getting going top lane, because then they were getting us they had us in the first half.
I'm pretty,
I ain't gonna lie. They had it in the first half.
I'm gonna say I got MVP off of that one. Oh no, Q got me by a little bit. Well, that's fine. The homie got it.
They kept throwing themselves at me down bottom lane, and I'm literally built to be a brawler. Like,
We literally did almost the exact same thing. You just got me in points of damage taken. Well done, well done. One thing I don't like, Ben, how does ranking up work in League of Legends?
Poorly. Yeah. So you have up to 10 placement games. Usually it's 10. There have been a couple times where they'll cement you early. They may have changed that for the past couple of seasons, just to give people a better chance to get higher
Okay.
in your placement games. Every win you get a massive boost, and every loss does not count against you. You don't go down, you don't lose points or anything. You just don't go up. After placements, you're given your rank, and then you begin the climb. You get, which differs. Once they get to where they feel like your skill kind of should be at, you start losing more points for a loss and gaining fewer points for a win. And it gets to about where you're almost 50-50. So you win one, you lose one, you net neutral.
That's kind of garbage.
There are ways to...
yes.
There are ways to game the system. Some of the people that I play with, they have intentionally lost a bunch of matches just to make it easier to then climb back up. I don't fully understand how it works, but it's...
I was about to say, what is the benefit of that?
But it's kind of...
It takes time
I-
for the system to recognize where you are, and it does it based on like so many games. So if you lose a bunch of games and then you do an immediate climb, you're getting a whole lot more points for the area that you're in, because it thinks that you're way worse than you are. So
I
then
see.
it makes it easier to just go up and you get a little bit past where you were. And if you keep doing that, eventually it becomes still a net positive.
Gotcha. Okay, interesting.
Yep.
So I don't know, Ben. You haven't done ranked in this game at all, right?
We'll say no. I think I played 2 or 3 matches, but
Yeah. All right. So how it works here
that
is
doesn't-
every class or every tier. So ultra, great, master, or ultra, veteran, expert, and great. They all have these 3 fucking diamonds, and every win it puts a diamond in there. So you start off at ultra 5, climb to ultra 1, and then you get your 4 wins, and that'll put you in the next tier up. The problem I see with this is that you also get these performance points if you look up in the top right. So if you get 400, it's an automatic diamond basically. So after 3 or 4 wins in a row or something like that, you'll probably have enough performance points to get an additional win. So that can generally boost you way higher and way faster if you're winning. The other thing I don't like is that after you lose your 3 diamonds, you don't automatically drop into the bottom tier or the next class down. So if I were to lose these 2 diamonds, I would still be in class 1. But if I lose and I have 0 diamonds, I drop down to class 2, but I also then have 2 diamonds. Does that make sense?
Yeah, so essentially you have to lose all the diamonds, and then you lose 1 more game, and then it's like, oh, if you want to rank back up, you have to win 2 games instead of just having to win 1 and bouncing back and forth.
Yeah. So it's like, it's good, but it's really shitty. And also the performance points act as a buffer, but at the same time, it's better to lose the diamond than to lose your performance points, but they automatically make you lose your performance points. And the amount that you lose is oftentimes ridiculous. Because like you see now, I just got 10 for this win. Quentin probably got, I don't know, 50 maybe. But when you lose and you lose performance points, you can lose like 200.
Yeah, like 150, 200, depending upon where you're at in the actual scale.
Yeah.
It also changes the amount of performance points necessary for the win. But like when you were in veteran, it was like 200 or 300, whereas it looks like 300, and now that we're in ultra, it's like 400.
Yeah. So it's like a really broken system. Also, if you look at the battle data, if you look on the opposing team, the fucking Warlord Fox or whatever, he got MVP for his team. The reason I hate MVP for the losing team is because it incentivizes bad behavior. Because that person got less of a decrease probably in their performance points because they got MVP. So if they're not with the team in any game fight or any team fight or anything like that, and they're just running around scoring and dunking, and they get MVP and they still lose, he's going to lose a lot less than the rest of the team because he's the best one on the team, so to speak. And it's like, well, if that person had been in the team fight for the entire match, they probably wouldn't have lost. So it's like a really shitty system that I said, like I said, it incentivizes bad behavior, and I fucking hate it because you see it a lot in this game, especially like mid to like high ranks. You just see like, oh, we're gonna lose, so that one player's never with the fucking team anymore, and it's like, we could win if you just didn't be that guy.
Yeah. Also, the things that they judge MVP off of are more so specifically based on like the type of Pokemon that you had. So whether you were defender, speedster, attacker, or whatnot, like those, that also helps decide whether or not the MVP kind of goes to you as well. So it's not just kills or score or whatnot, because I've seen plenty of people, they scored way higher or having kills or whatnot, but they didn't get MVP because you had a defender who had a decent score plus a crap ton of damage taken and healed and whatnot. And it's like, so the things that they go off of don't necessarily play into team fights and whatnot. Because even still, like even on my Scizor, I've had games where I'm literally fighting 4v1s and winning and doing what I gotta do and doing my best. And obviously I'm not really able to score any points because they just keep jumping on me. Then I get one guy who is just dunked away as a speedster and then he's MVP. Like, you did nothing this match. Like you could have not been here and we would have been equally as good.
Yeah. So Ben, I guess you would say you are a veteran of the franchise of Pokemon as a whole. What would you want to see in the future?
I would dispute that just because after first 2 gens, I pretty much fell off for like we'll say 4 gens, being potentially conservative.
Okay.
And I've not found a rekindled love for the
franchise.
Any of the content that I've seen. Yeah. So,
okay. Well,
outside,
even better. What would you want to see to rekindle that spark? I guess.
So it's. I would say one of the things that feels odd to me is the shifting into the art style that they've gone with the games, with what feels like a lessening. Like it was, even going back and re-looking at the first couple gens, the amount of detail that they got in the sprites and the world felt very fulfilling in comparison to how the worlds look now.
Right.
And again, part of that is because of all of the other games that are within the ballpark of this game that have more in them.
Right.
So, and as I mentioned earlier, one of the things I would like to see is stop releasing new Pokemon.
Mm-hmm.
I would like to see a focus on a potentially a crossover game. In mind, I'm thinking of Zelda Oracle of Ages, Oracle of Seasons, in that you could have. I know some people would complain about a cash grab potential thing, where it's like, oh well, I don't get the full story across 2 games unless I buy both games. Like, yeah, but what if it's 2 games worth of story? The games, both the handhelds and especially the recent full releases, whatever you want to call them, the flagship games.
Yeah, main series.
They have felt far too easy.
Yes.
There's something to be said about not having a ton of grind in the game, but there's also something to say about having a game that feels fulfilling to play.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to do a Walking Dead style or a Telltale game style of game where there's not much gameplay and it's really just a story being told, that is absolutely fine, viable, and that could be very fun.
Right.
People think about Pokemon Snap. That's not like, that is very far removed. It is very not the same game, but it is very fun.
Agreed.
Even Pokemon Stadium in its own way, even with all the extras and whatnot, a different type of game. And so I think that if they put the time into making, not just worrying about, well, we need to have a regular release, and having something that is meant to be a standalone beacon. Don't worry about new Pokemon. Don't worry about, the new characters, whatever. Use what you have and create a game that will take someone time. You could have scalability, such as Breath of the Wild, where apparently you don't have to beat all the shit in order to actually go and complete the game, or you can bump around and do these different things that would power creep you little by little by little in order to have a more fulfilling gameplay however you want to play it.
Right.
So,
Okay.
that was a very long-winded answer, I know, but that's kind of where I'm at with that.
Okay. So Justin, same question. Moving forward, what would you want to see in a Pokemon game? Basically, in your opinion, to make it better or more appealing to you as the consumer.
And yeah, I'm sorry, I had to cut out for a second.
You're good.
But I really liked what he was saying. I was gonna ask you guys, like, do we need more Pokemon? Has that been discussed?
So, in my opinion, I don't mind getting new Pokemon, because that's kind of the joy of Pokemon, is experiencing what's new, right? That being said, with 1,000 Pokemon, I don't necessarily think it's mandatory. What I would like is to kind of piggyback off of what Bunzo said, is to build on what you have, right? Because the game for me, or the series for me, has stopped being about world building, in the sense of, you know, we go to a new region, there's some new gimmick, and you follow the same, you know, vein of, you start in your useless ass town with your mom and you go off to be a fucking Pokemon champion, right? I think we need to do away with that narrative altogether. And I think we need to bring back, or they need to find a way to bring back other gimmicks. Because if this is supposed to be quote unquote a world building franchise, you know, things that happen in London, we still do over here, and things that we do over here happen in London. So why is it that only Mega Evolutions happens in this zone? Why is it that only
Dynamax?
Yeah. So it's like, they need to find a way to rope it all in now, in my opinion, because it's not roped in anymore. We're so far spread from what Pokemon was, that it's just, I don't know, every game just feels generic now.
And I think it's more mature type game. Like, I understand what you're saying with the new Pokemon, but it's like, if there's not a marriage, like, have more Pokemon in the next gen, Pokemon up and Pokemon down, introduce 200 new Pokemon, or just keep the same Pokemon and just have a different story or something that's
right, flush it out more. And that's what I'm saying.
Something
Like,
way more cohesive. Yeah, that's different.
Flush out the world more. Because it's almost to the point now where, like, the regions don't even, it's almost like they don't know about each other, you know? Like, back when they did Gen 7, right? The professor for that region basically looked like Professor Oak. So it was kind of like a cool throwback to that. But it's like, if that's the only callback to another region, then that's kind of fucked, you know? So yeah, I agree 100%. I think they need to do more story building and more world building for the games. And Q, same question. If you have any other thought processes.
Well, I kind of agree, and the thing is, I would slightly disagree on the fact of that there's really not a lot, because they did do a lot with, like, say, Black and White 2 and other stuff, as well as, say, like XD, Gale of Darkness, and some of these other games, because of the fact that they just need to keep going along that particular path. So tie in AZ's super weapon that created Megastones with, like, hey, what's going on in your like, say, the newest region, and with the whole new Pokemon and when they're and the whole Terra and all that stuff. Because it said Kalos was at war with somebody, so there was some other region that knew about him.
Yeah,
because
like,
they were fighting. Like, there was a great Pokemon war, and then even in, like, XD and some of the other ones, like, you had different gimmicks. As a matter of fact, it was because that guy, the person who did the team that did XD, didn't know Pokemon very well. So because they didn't, they just came up with a brand new type story.
Yeah.
So they didn't want to just stick with some young protagonist, so that's why the protagonist is a little bit older in those games. And that's heralded is still one of the great Pokemon game that people still love to this day.
Yeah, so Gen 5 is definitely my favorite of the series. And for those who don't know, that is Pokemon Black and White and White 2 and Black 2. And kind of the overarching story, I guess you could say, was a group of politicians basically were like, hey, catching Pokemon is bad. We need to release all Pokemon. That kind of thing, kind of like basically PETA. And that was the first time that a Pokemon game actually had like a different story. So, in my opinion, I thought it was the best story to date. The reason it didn't do well is because, one, they were pushing...
he tried it.
Yeah. They were pushing... what's the word I'm trying to say? They were trying really hard to push for, like, the 3DS and the jump to, like, 3D, and instead we got Pokemon Black and White, which wasn't 3D. So a lot of people were pissed. And then the other thing was, that's the only generation to date that makes you use all of the new Pokemon before getting the older Pokemon. So a lot of people didn't like that either. But in my opinion, I think that's kind of what a lot of the games need nowadays, is to kind of force you to experience the new shit. But that, again, is just my opinion. So, yeah. But yeah, I definitely think that the games need a little more TLC. And I don't know, Ben, you mentioned earlier about the art style, right? I think that was you.
Yeah.
So I agree. I think the art style has been kind of meh. Like, it looks like kind of a step up from like the 3DS, which is kind of sad considering it's on the Switch and it's got way more power and it can look way better. Yep. That being said, though, I think they 100% nailed the art style for 3D Pokemon games with the Let's Go series. I think that art style is the art style they need moving forward for every generation.
And this could also be just a factor of me not really being big into the Wii and Wii U spheres. I never really cared for the Mii style art and like
the super polished, like very flat skin.
Yes. That's not to say, I don't need a Doom Eternal level Pokemon game.
Fucking Unreal 4, fucking 8K.
Yeah. But it's like, we have Breath of the Wild. We have games like Genshin Impact that have they're in a similar. Even Wind Waker felt like a better art style to have than, at least as the characters go. The Pokemon, they look fine. I'm fine with that. I'm more so thinking about the NPCs, the playable character, and the world itself.
Okay.
If you take the Pokemon models, put them in the rest of it, cool. One of the other gripes that has probably been beaten to death has just been the season of the animation, the combat animations.
Yes.
There have been plenty of memes on that, and that's again just something where it's like, delay the game, 3 more months, and just add just a little more. People are showing some comparable moves from Pokemon Stadium on the N64, and it's more detailed as far as what's happening.
Right.
than the modern games, and that's a very big turnoff because it doesn't need to be that way. You have the capability. You have other games that are doing it. You have Pokemon games themselves from decades ago that are doing it. So why this?
Right.
Yeah, I fully agree. Because at this point in the development life cycles and everything, they should have, even if the same move, they should have different animations for each Pokemon.
Or at least
based on what the Pokemon is. Like,
I wouldn't even say for
Volpound
each.
and Toxtricity shouldn't look the same when using Nuzzle because they don't act the same.
Right. So if I understand that, and I do get it. Like from an art standpoint, yes, that would probably be a logistical nightmare to fucking code that and like do that. So even if it was, you know, like let's say 5 different animations or a different animation for bipedal and quadruped Pokemon or something of that sort, you know? Like,
Nah, yeah, you hit it on the head with that. Just bipedal animation, quadruped animation, something like that. Its feet comes out of its hand versus its head versus nowhere.
exactly. That would be my thing. Like, at the very least, have animations for the different body types. Not necessarily each Pokemon, because like I said, that'd be a nightmare to code for fucking every single Pokemon, but the fact that we don't have that in 2023 is pretty fucking ridiculous. And it's not like, you know, the Pokemon companies or Game Freak's pockets are empty. We know they're making literally millions of dollars on this fucking franchise. So it's just kind of sad that they aren't. We'll get his little ass.
I'd love to see a fucking like a Pokemon Mario Party type thing, like the little mini games in Pokemon Stadium or something like that.
So that'd be an interesting concept.
I thought you were gonna stay with me. I needed the heals. I could have fought him
Yeah,
out.
like I think of Crash Bandicoot, how they had that run where they made Crash Team Racing, then they made like Crash Bash with the mini games.
Yeah.
It's like Pokemon, why don't you have any more mini games? Like, why don't you, you know, make something accessible for the kids? It's also just mindless entertainment.
Mm-hmm. Ooh, we are getting bodied this round, which is very sad because this is my win into Masters.
That's why we're getting bodied. They, like I said before, they specifically look at, oh, you're trying to rank up? Nah, Playboy.
What's a genre that you would like to see blended with Pokemon? I know you just said the Mario Party, Justin. Is there any other style you would like to see?
You know, I like fighting games, so seeing Pokken, especially since my favorite franchise is Tekken, so seeing Bandai do that, I was kind of everything I really would have wanted. I really can't think of another genre that would really
So if they made
complement the Pokemon universe, I guess.
if they made a Pokken 2, what would you want to see?
I think they'd have to revamp the fighting style, how it kind of went from shifts,
Okay.
like to the third person to like the traditional fighting.
Uh-huh.
If they could do something that's more akin to like the Ninja Storm arena battle.
There we go. Okay. I could get behind that. That'd be fun.
Yeah, not exactly like that, but the way that it shifted during the game, I didn't like it.
Right. I get it. What about you, Ben? What is there a different genre you would like to see branded with Pokemon?
I hate Urshifu so much.
I think that they could honestly, if they did an updated version of the N64 Pokemon Stadium, that could be so many itches scratched because it had elements of like a Mario Party in it. It had just sort of the regular, I just want to Pokemon battle climb in that. And with modern day gaming, I don't see why they couldn't have some sort of even if you want to have it be DLC or something like that, you could buy them separate. Like you could buy the little separate sections, and then if you wanted to have some sort of way to interlink them, that'd be fine. But the standalone Pokemon cooking game was kind of fun, and I understand they also had like the sort of the Lickitung one, but that was a little different in Stadium.
Mhm.
But you could also implement a section if you don't want to do a complete standalone game of Pokken. I like that as well. You could have a separate section where it relates to a Pokemon Snap. I like what's available now. Just bringing them together and making them
Cohesive.
cleaner, making them more cohesive.
Okay.
And ideally having a hub where you can interact. You could have layered main areas. Darktide, Warhammer 40k Darktide does this. What's the Back for Blood? They kind of have something similar to that,
Mhm.
where you can see other players around, which gives the game a sense of community, being alive, being around people. And then you just sort of, if you're in a party, you can see your party members. All of you go to the same layer. So that's kind of an updated Pokemon Stadium is really what I would want to see, just with
Okay.
more of the other games that are available being implemented into it, with some of these changes they were mentioning, such as the combat animations and potentially having Pokemon. You could have it be limited, right? It's not going to have every single move that's available. You'll have some of this. There's got to be a way that you could limit it to like 15, electric moves or something like that.
Yeah.
And then that way, okay, you can play with that a little bit more.
Okay. Interesting concept indeed. I think for me, not necessarily a new concept, but I definitely want them to, at the very least, make a main series game
Boys.
that can be fully co-op.
Are you serious right now? Oh, it's being select.
I think that's what I would want to see most. Like the co-op in Scarlet and Violet, it was cool to see your homie in your game for like the first time ever. But
Yeah, that was.
there was literally nothing you could do with your homie in the game. If that makes sense, except like run around and like look at the world. It's like, well, this is a Pokemon game. Like I want to be able to.
Like a double battle with the homie.
Yeah. And that was my thing. And I was like, how did we not get this opportunity? And I just feel like that was a huge opportunity missed.
Agreed.
I could definitely go on and on for like the issues in Scarlet and Violet regarding co-op. With things like simple things like not having scalable fucking gyms. Like, how do you claim to have a world building franchise and your world isn't even built like the world you say it is? Because the way Pokemon gyms are supposed to work is that every gym leader has different level Pokemon for different trainers, because not everyone starts in the same fucking village. So your gym 1 might be my gym 9 or gym 8 or something, you know what I mean?
Yeah, we kind of ran
that's
across that in the
because the game was very much like you can go wherever, and then you see like the level cap, and it's like I'm very much not supposed to be here.
Exactly. And it's like,
Wow.
how the fuck is this even a thing? Just defending, we might be able to win this.
Yeah, if he dunks that 100. But he didn't dunk that 100.
He fucking ran. God damn it.
Go jump up north.
Yep, I got it. Bring your little ass
Alright.
here, bitch.
Yeah.
Slap. Slap.
No, you're going.
No, they dunked 100 at the bottom. Where did everybody go? Oh God.
You left the 100 to dunk 60?
Hey Q, if you can push up, I would go push up. Try and dunk. You know what? I'm gonna go try and dunk something if I can. Blastoise is gonna dunk. Blastoise is gonna dunk. No! I'm not gonna make it there in time. Hopefully we're in the lead enough that that 100 didn't crush us.
Well, hopefully that 68 kept us where we needed to be.
Oh God, I hope I just hit Masters with this win, guys. Come on, fingers crossed, baby, fingers crossed.
Oh my goodness!
Let's go! Woo! That's 68.
Brought us back. Oh my goodness.
Oh God! All right, I can finally breathe a little bit. All right, now I got to do the Masters climb.
I had 96k damage. I out damaged the Urshifu.
I didn't even see what I had. Yeah, I didn't do much that round. All right, so what happens when you hit Masters rank is you start off at a rating of 1200, and you get wins or losses added to that 1200. So I think like a loss will be like -6, a win might be like, or no, a loss might be like 10 points or something like that, depending on how bad you lost. A win will be like, I don't know, maybe 5 or 6 points or something like that. And obviously, if you get on a winning streak, you get more points and things like that. I don't know how high it goes. I've been to like 1600 or so. But
Essentially, Ben, it works like once you hit Masters, then it starts to work like League of Legends. And effectively, your points are your MMR.
Okay.
yeah. I don't really know a whole lot about fucking league rankings, so.
I remember them all too well.
But yeah. No, that's one goal. Now we gotta get War Muffin up to Masters. That's the goal for the night. Ideally.
I don't know about tonight, but it is definitely a goal for this week.
It's doable. But let's get like one more game in and we'll call it a night. If that sounds good to everyone.
All right, yeah.
That sounds fine. This has been stress-inducing.
You can't say it's stress-inducing to somebody we're trying to sell the game to.
I understand, but that's once you get higher. If you're playing for fun, it is what it is. But I got a goal.
Hey, question: are all the Pokemon available when you get the game, or do you have to like unlock them?
So you have to unlock them. You can unlock them either by paying real money, since once again it is a free to play, or you can unlock them by doing random things around. So a lot of them come out during, like if you're around when they come out, you can get them during unlock events and other things like that, as well as in some cases you can build up coins weekly for wins and losses or whatever, just playing the game. And they cost a lot per Pokemon, but over time you can slowly just start collecting them.
Honestly, I wouldn't say they cost the newer ones. The newer ones always cost the most, but the ones that have been out for a year or plus, I would say they're actually fairly cheap.
Okay.
They also do very rarely or very frequently, they do like 7-day rental passes and things like that, where you can just like rent one of like 7 Pokemon or something like that, and then you just have them for the week. So that way you can at least try them out beforehand. I think every Pokemon is available to like practice with, but not to like actually play with.
Okay, so you can practice and say like, "Yo, I got this dude. Fuck, I'll spend the $5."
Yeah. So yeah, they're very generous with like letting you like try shit out before. Oh god, I do not need to be up here with him. They're very generous with letting you try out the Pokemon beforehand. Nope.
I'm gonna wait top. Oh, never mind. You guys got it.
Yeah. But yeah, man, Justin, I honestly think you would enjoy it. It just takes a little getting used to if you're not familiar with the type of game.
No, I'm with it. Yeah, I'm probably overdue to play something less intensive as fighting games. I feel like I'm pressing a whole bunch of buttons all the time.
Yeah, no, it has its moments where it gets intense, but I think overall your net stress level is lower in this game. At least in comparison to like fighting games.
Yeah, I'm definitely excited to check it out. And it seems like something my kid we can enjoy.
Absolutely. 10 out of 10 would recommend. Damn. But shit, I had another question in my head and I just fucking forgot it. Just that fast.
I was gonna ask, do you think we're ever going to see like I think Muffin said something about Gale of Darkness, but do you think we're ever gonna see like a dark mainline story Pokemon game?
Ooh. You know, I don't know. And the reason I say that is because they tried something recently with like that with damn bro, can a motherfucker heal? With what was that fucking game? The Legends Arceus one, right?
Yeah, Legends Arceus, yeah.
I think they tried something similar with that. But that's different, right? That's like I don't know, a combination of like the main games and like a story game, so I didn't feel like that was a full-on like story-based game, like what you're explaining, like with like Gale of Darkness and stuff. So I personally don't think we'll get to that, because I think the reason being is that Pokemon is, as a company, is too gimmicky. Like every new game they try, they have to add some new fucking gimmick. And I think that's kind of what prevents them from making a game like that. I don't know if that makes sense at all, but
When you make if it's not broke, don't like this makes money like and you don't want to alien.
Say that again, Justin. You broke up some.
Oh, I said you don't want to alienate your fan base.
Right.
Hey, does that Clefable have a move that stops me from using my abilities?
Does Clefable? I don't know her moveset off the top of my head. But no, I would definitely like to see a more story-based game. But I'm also what's the word? I'm hesitant about the next remake, because the next remake is Gen 5, and not only is that my favorite generation, but that is also the most story-heavy generation we've had to date. So I don't want to say I'm hopeful, because when they remade Diamond and Pearl, it was not good. So I don't know. I would like to see one. I just don't know what they would do. That being said, the other, like, their side games, those stories are actually pretty good. Like the Mystery Dungeon games. What was it? Detective Pikachu. That was actually a pretty solid story. So I don't know. It's hard to say. I'll just say I'm hopeful, and I hope they do it.
I was gonna say, I only asked one of my buddies, he just passed away actually, he's a poet, and the poet community, they have different kind of slams where they have like specifically like nerd but do your nerdy poem. And he did a poem about the Lieutenant Surge War that like Lieutenant Surge briefly mentioned in
Okay.
Pokemon the original series. And I was just like, yeah, there was a complete war. And I want to say Muffin alluded to that too with the Kalos, but that would just be something dope to see, even like a Dynasty Warriors type game or something like that.
So if they do, well, this is kind of getting off topic a little bit, but if they were to do another story-based thing, I honestly wouldn't mind it as a movie. And I don't mean like, you know, the animated one or whatever. I mean more so like the, you know, the live action they did with Detective Pikachu.
Yeah, they could definitely, get away with that easy.
I think that would be a really good idea. I was actually kind of disappointed that they did Detective Pikachu. Because again, I think the story for Pokemon Black and White would have been a better story to see like on the live screen or the big screen, or even just like, you know, Red and Blue, like have a dude that like he started off as a Pokemon trainer, lost his first battles with his rival and was like, nah, I'm not about that life, and then proceeded to beat everyone's cheeks. Or do it from, you know, I don't think I would mind like a, what is it, like a Pokemon Team Rocket Origins movie.
Like the organization or Jesse and James?
The organization,
Well,
like how Giovanni fucking started it and all this other shit, and I feel like that would be pretty dope.
Well, and that could be something where, especially with if you're doing Team Rocket without Jesse or James, you could even provided Nintendo is able to count, they could understand that a lot of their audience are now goddamn adults. And the original manga was rather dark. Even some of the first gen storylines were in that bleaker, hey, this is closer to what a world would be if Pokemon were actually in it, rather than the happy-go-lucky stuff that a lot of the modern titles seem to have. And so you could have this as a like a first season Mandalorian or Rogue One type option, where you go into more of an adult themed, darker, bleak type Pokemon direction, which, you know, you could even do that with the Pokemon War from Lieutenant Surge, but especially with Team Rocket. You know, the Jesse and James interactions were fitting for the show, as it were, but it did not capture what the Team Rocket kind of
Is, yeah.
really was. Yeah.
That makes sense. So I don't know if you guys are aware, but I do believe Netflix is supposed to be doing a live action Pokemon. What are your thoughts on that?
I think Pokemon is one of the few things where they could do live action to actually get it right. As long as they don't go Uncanny Valley with the actual Pokemon, I think they could actually get that one done.
Yeah, I agree. The world's so big. Like, it's not narrow like a Cowboy Bebop, to where it's like you have these 25 episodes of source material. Pokemon's so vast, you could do it and it not be offensive.
Okay. What about you, Ben?
I take the pessimistic route. It's going to be no free flag until I see it, because the very example you gave as it's more vast than Cowboy Bebop is exactly why it is that much easier to fail. Because if you have a more stringent, strict, direct source material to go off of. It's more condensed, it's more concise, and you fuck that up, I don't have...
Who's to say? I understand.
Literally,
Yeah, totally.
literally go copy, paste. Yeah, and they're like, we can't. The best we can do is like a mangled mess. So trying to say, well, just make your own thing. Now, that being said, Netflix has made some great regular shit, like their own shit, original shit, not regular, original shit. However, you also got to think about the hundreds of movies and shows that no one gives a shit about because they're dog shit, they're trash, but people overlook that because of the couple of gems that Netflix has come out with.
Mhm.
So, I have apprehensive pessimism towards Netflix doing any sort of designated existing IP.
So
Now, will I wait to cast a vote as to what I think about it until it's out? Yes. This is a preemptive, sort of like with video games. I am not pre-ordering the game because it looks good. Because too many games have burned too many people. So it's like, if it comes out and I'm a day or two behind and it's a great game, fantastic. But if it comes out and it's dog shit, which has been a trend in a lot of games, well, that's what you get for fucking pre-ordering in
We have no
2023.
range. Of course, this would happen on my Ultra One rank up. Of course.
So for me, I'm kind of on the same vein as Ben, but I think for a different reason, right? So my thing is Netflix won't have the same budget as, say, like Detective Pikachu did, the live action movie. And as though they can, you know, expand on a world a lot more because it is a TV show. I don't want another repeat of Avatar: The Last Airbender. And for a world like Pokemon where they could essentially just take the IP and create a brand new story, that could have disastrous consequences. I mean, what was that?
Oh, my bad.
No, like, I mean, I think the issue that I would probably run into the most with a live action show would be more so the oh shit, I'm getting jumped. Oh. You fucked. No. I live. Sorry, I was in the thick of it right now. But I think the thing that, or the biggest issue that a live action Netflix show would run into is the two companies arguing over the direction of the show and like the design and stuff like that. Because you know Pokemon's not going to be like, hey bro, Pikachu needs to look like Pikachu, and then Netflix will be like, nah man, we got this thing where he's gonna have fucking human teeth and all this other shit to make him look like version 1 Sonic. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't want that to happen, and I feel like that is a very big possibility with a Netflix adaptation of Pokemon.
Absolute nightmare fuel.
Yeah, and that's what I don't want. And if they fuck that up, like you said, Pokemon's an IP where it's got to be very, very copy paste. But I don't know. I'm neither here nor there about it. I think it's just one of those things where we'll see what happens. I mean, they're already doing a live action Lilo and Stitch, which unfortunately is my favorite Disney movie. And if the leaks from what I saw are correct, Stitch looks like a piece of trash, and I'm very heartbroken by it. So, I don't know. I mean...
Yeah, you can't have Nightmare Fuel saying, Ohana means family.
Yeah.
But Stitch was ugly.
terrifying.
No, it's like reverse Nightmare Fuel. It's like Dream Fuel when it's supposed to be Nightmare Fuel. it doesn't fit. And Justin, like, speaking of live actions, you saw the live action fucking flounder and shit that I showed you from The Little Mermaid. Like, when they go live action, they make everything look super realistic, and I think that's not what we need from a Pokemon TV show.
Exactly. Like I don't think everything has to be hyper realistic. Like the Mons and
Come on, motherfucker! Come on!
He does a whole lot of AoE damage, which is what got us. His AoE damage capability is pretty high, so once we all got pumped up, he just went to work.
Yeah.
I don't really have much maneuverability at this point, so.
It do be like that sometimes, though.
No, you want to come? Nah, what's up? What's up? Nah, we can fight one-on-one. Okay,
Awesome.
See, Score Bunny Cinderace came out of nowhere. I thought y'all was taking care of him. I was gonna fight Kazashi one-on-one.
All right. Next question. If you had to choose a... Oh, damn, they got murdered.
Yeah.
If you had to choose one Pokemon for, like, IRL living, what Pokemon would you be? So you would be factoring things like size and food and all of that stuff. Like, what Pokemon would you have IRL today, 2023? Barring all the negative effects of, like, shit being like a black hole and shit like that.
Just baseline, what would be comfortable with? Probably like a Scizor or one of the EVs or something like that. Anything pretty much going too much further than that, then it starts to lead to this can be dangerous to the time-space continuum.
No, that's what I'm saying. Like, barring all negative effects, but you still have to focus. And let me reinforce this. It's your partner Pokemon, so it's not like you're putting him in a Pokeball at night. Like, nah, this motherfucker is family. He is living with you. He is going to dinner with you and the wife and all that jazz.
And that might be like maybe like a Cubone or something. Just not Cubone. Not specifically. That would. It probably, to be honest, it'd probably be one of the EVs. Or contrary to the Rule 34 is like a Bunny, Lopunny or something. Just something that would be kid friendly.
Okay.
Nah, I don't know how big a Venusaur is, but that or
Huge.
Yeah,
like
that's
4'11".
in the backyard, man.
Actually, what's the set? Let's find out. I can do a quick.
Venusaur's
I
like
was trying to Google
4'11".
it, but I was like, I know it can manipulate nature, so I feel like I can eat forever.
I mean, even if it's, like if it's just helping you with the daily gardening, like, yo.
Yeah, or I don't know how Solar Beam works with my solar panels or some shit, but I was really thinking Venusaur or Ampharos, so I'm like, I'm never paying an electric bill again.
Yo, you just get like a plate and see what it does to the plate. If the plate's okay, then you aim it at like a random one-off panel. And then
that's what I'm saying. I'm getting a Tesla, my whole house. I'm not.
All right. So to answer your question, a Venusaur, on average, is 6'7" and 220 pounds.
Oh, that's easy. That's LeBron
That's
James.
The Rock.
Yeah,
Now keep in mind,
It's quadrupedal and
yes,
ridiculous.
It's also wide. I don't know how wide it is, but yeah, 6'7" is pretty reasonable for most houses.
Nah, you just turn the garage into a big terrarium.
Exactly. My garage is motherfucker in my garage chilling, and I can ride that thing. I'm sure.
Okay.
What?
Man,
Why
what
can't
about
I
you?
use my ulti? Why is it
I
so
don't know
much?
why you asking me like I ain't gonna say the exact same thing.
All right, so we got 2 for Venusaur. Bet. Okay.
Yeah, like legitimately, if we're going with like usefulness, then yeah, like you have like a Venusaur or something like that all day. Like that's
Nah, that's what I'm saying. Like in your
or
world
an
as of
Ampharos
today.
or like an Ampharos or I'd have to read the Pokédex because there are a lot of them where it says one thing, but like because you could always get like a Magnemite, and I'm pretty sure according to his Pokédex, like it's is just ridiculous. It can just do
I mean,
all
for
the
the
things.
sake of conversation, right? It's like probably one of my backups. Some of my other favorites are coughing and wheezing. It's not gonna happen. However, something like Litwick or the there's a middle grade, right?
Yeah, Lampent.
Yeah, Lampent.
Yeah, I'd be fine with one of them. Just a little something. Hell, shout outs to War Turtle and Blastoise. They could get a spot in the crib. But yeah, just if I'm just going with like my all time favorite, like me and Venusaur can go out to the mountains, we can chill. We doing some gardening. Like
Ain't gonna be a mountain man.
exactly.
Or to be honest, I pick a water type Pokemon because then I'd at least always have water, which is like really important.
I mean, you'd always have water unless M. Night Shyamalan is involved, and then you need water to make water. That's an Avatar joke.
Okay, good choices all around. I think for me, for me,
What? Why am I constantly stunned with everything I do?
all right, I think for me, it's a toss up because I gotta go with my birds, right? I think for me it'd be either Pidgeot or Togekiss. One, because Pidgeot gives me unlimited travel for free. I'm also literally never grounded anywhere, so I can't really get lost. And if I need food, hey bro, go get me a dead Charizard or something. Bring back food.
or actually, just being honest, almost any psychic type, because they're like, when you look at them, like in Pokedex, it's kind of like it's rough, but when you really look at it, like they can legitimately do all of those things, except for like the production of water. But they can teleport. They can they literally have teleport. They can lift and do things with their mind. One of them can make a black hole. Just having a psychic type would pretty much immediately put you, like, it can, we've seen it literally control another Pokemon in the anime.
I guess I was confused about the question. Is this just like, if I have my Pokemon, am I just one of one, or everybody has one?
Everybody
That kind of changed my answer. If everybody got one.
Yeah, everybody's got one. It's 2023. Wherever you at, Ohio, and you got your partner Pokemon that you had since you was a baby. That's your ride or die.
But that's normal though. Everybody has one.
Everybody has one. Yes.
Oh yeah. See, that's tough. Because then I could just go to the co-op and buy some fucking food. Wouldn't be the problem at that point. Then I'm kind of I don't know. Now I'm just
I feel like a psychic type would probably be legitimately your best all-around choice.
Yeah, I feel like I might get a Hypno or something at that point and just
or you just have like you a Mewtwo or something, just like, yo, bruh, what's good? You literally made clones of other Pokemon. Like, you got it.
But see, then that comes into question of like, are the other Pokemon that are around you actually those Pokemon? Or did Mewtwo make a clone because he got tired of the other motherfucker talking shit? And
Or are they all Dittos?
All right, guys. It's been a good night. Thanks for hanging out. Very, very good discussion. Some wild shit. All around good stuff. Again, let's go around the room, say who you are, and we'll cap it with your favorite Pokemon to be stranded on a desert island with.
back to music.
Q, you want to take it?
Oh, me? All right. This is gonna sound bad, but it's me, your homie War Muffin, out of here. And to be honest, I'm probably gonna have to pick Machamp for that one. Just too useful.
Okay, that's actually a solid choice. I didn't think about that. Yeah, straight brute force, brute muscle. All right, I like it.
Cool.
Cool.
All the things.
Ben, what about you? Favorite Pokemon to be stranded on a desert island with?
See, I know how this is gonna sound. Okay, so Venusaur is a very versatile Pokemon. I'm just saying, some vines, some leaves. You know, you make yourself a raft with a sail.
You got a perpetual hammock.
Yeah, but if I'm being cheeky, I want to be stranded with my fucking Pidgeot, because you know that whole flying thing do sound kind of like I'm not gonna lie.
Okay, so let's switch it up with it. Barring the fact that you can't leave the island, you can leave the island to go swim and catch fish or whatever. But let's say there's a dome on the island and you can't escape.
And I hear you, but what if I'm not escaping?
Nope.
What if the Pidgeot is escaping?
Nope.
You're doing too much.
Why you gotta be like that?
You're doing too much.
I don't know. At that point, I'd probably have to switch it up, put it at something like a Kingler or a Blastoise.
Okay.
You know, potentially some fresh water.
Yeah.
And then, you know, fresh water. Kingler can go get me some little. I don't like seafood, but I like dying even less. So, you know, compromise. Go bring me something.
Okay. And Fantastic Bros to finish it off. I'll take the last one.
yeah.
I'll take the last one.
Yeah, Fantastic Bros. I'm really thinking Lapras was my first choice, but if motherfuckers can't leave.
Yeah, because it'd be
if
too
I just-
easy to be like, oh, you're on a desert island? Well, I'm gonna just get a fucking water type and swim the fuck off. Like,
Yeah.
nah, you're
I'm
confined
a
to
fan
the island.
my boy Darmanitan. I really like.
Okay. That's
I
a
just like the
left
way it
field one.
looks. I
Yeah.
feel like that's just a cool motherfucker to kick it with if I'm just stuck on an island.
I'm glad that nobody decided to be a degenerate so far.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't be real. Nobody wanted to get judged. Somebody was thinking they wanted a Lopunny.
But, oh, yeah, it was-
First
it
off,
was fun.
we not
Or
even
Vaporeon.
We're not even going front because both of them is my favorite Pokemon. So that being said, I'd probably go the same route as Ben, and go a water type just because, you know, unlimited fresh water is hey, I can survive off of that. So I'd probably go Milotic.
Gross.
That's at the very least I have something that can climb trees. You know, it's basically a big ass snake, so it can get shit high up on in the trees for me. That's fresh water. It can swim. It can dive. You know, I think that would be my my go-to. But cool, guys. Thanks again for hanging out with me. Again, I want you guys to stop by fantasticbros.com, pick up a book for me, Bottoms Up, written by yours truly, Justin Brothers, aka Fantastic Bros. It's not expensive, doesn't cost you anything. Go ahead and pick that up. Guys, I will catch you guys all in the next one. As always, take care. Peace.
And you want the uncensored